Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 104, Miro Heiskanen of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all of the major news and what's happening in the NHL, mainly focusing in on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames, because those are my two favorite teams, of course, but I'll be talking about all 32 teams on this podcast. So what do we have on tap for today? Well, of course, we got the Stanley Cup Finals. They are underway, so I'll break down, we'll talk about the first two games that have gone down, and I got some Toronto Maple Leaf talk. Got a lot to talk about with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Got some Calgary Flames news. We got Anaheim, Washington, PWHL, some NHL news, just a bunch of goodness. So let's dive into it, baby. We are finally here, the final series of the NHL season. It is Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers, and it's begun, baby. Now I definitely am feeling for Edmonton fans out there. Definitely not the start that we were looking for here in Canada, I guess. Now, honestly, I feel like I'm on the outside here. I chose the Panthers to win, and I am secretly, very secretly, I'm not really rooting for them, but I'm not saying anything about the Panthers at work because everyone is on the Oilers train, and every single person that I talk to at work about hockey, it is just a 5 to 10 minute shit fest on the Florida Panthers, on how much they hate Bennett, how much I hate Tkachuk, and how much I hate this organization and the way that these players play. And I'm just sitting there going, oh yeah, that Bennett, he's something, isn't he? Meanwhile, I'm like, yo, man, I can't say that I really like this team. I kind of do, because I know a lot of people are giving them shit for playing the way that they're playing and mucking it up and being really dirty and just grinding it out and doing all that shit, but damn it, is that not what it takes to win this championship? They know this now, Florida does. They were here last year and they fell short, and now they know. So look at them go, man, and they are doing it like unapologetically. They are getting into scrums after every single whistle. They are being dirty right in your face and not giving a singular shit about it. Like, they're not reacting, they're just doing it. It's really something to behold, and I honestly have to, in a way, commend the Florida Panthers for doing what it takes, man. And I'm not saying that Edmonton isn't necessarily doing it, but watch out for Edmonton next year, man, because if they make it to the finals, I'm not saying the series is over yet, not yet, but if Edmonton doesn't win this series, they're going to learn a lot. They're going to learn, they have learned as much as they possibly can, and not being a champion. They have gone through every single round now. They know at least the best that they can, the little tricks of the referees, what you can and can't get away with, what kind of play is the most effective in playoff hockey, and Edmonton is learning these things, and it's working. Like, it's slowly happening, but they're getting further and further into the playoffs. So watch out for Edmonton next year. If you're Edmonton fans out there that are already giving up on this series, watch out for this team next year, man. Like, yeah, there might be a guy or two gone, but man, I think there's something to say about a team that makes it to the finals and can get back there again, especially if they didn't win it. Like, that's so tough, man. Like, do you know how much that probably took and did take out of Florida last season to not win that Stanley Cup? Tkachuk, it basically messed up his whole season this year. Like, he did not have the most productive year because he sacrificed so much in the playoffs last year that it affected him this season, and kind of looks like it's still kind of lingering, right? Like, he's still not been the Tkachuk of the last couple seasons. Still very, very good, but man, there is something to say about this Florida Panthers team that is just downright impressive, man. I really am impressed. I can't say that I am necessarily a fan of the shenanigans, especially if it was happening to my team. Like, when Florida did this to the Leafs last year, I didn't like it, but now I know, and hopefully, well, the Leafs will never figure out how to win in the playoffs, but that's what you got to do, man. This is what you have to do. There's a reason it's working for Florida. There's a reason they're doing it, because it works, and they're really fucking good at it now. So that's, with that being said, let's dive into the series. I will admit it hasn't been the series I was hoping for. Game one. Let's get to game one. So Florida wins this game 3-0. Now, on paper, that looks pretty bad for Edmonton, right? But they played a good game, man. They really did play a good game. I think, honestly, Bobrovsky stole that game for Florida. I think Edmonton should have won that game. Watching it, they had so many chances. They had great chances, great chances, and they weren't capitalizing. Was Edmonton? Are they holding their sticks too tight that night? Was it the jitters? Was it, who knows? It could be an abundance of numerous things all mixing together to just make you miss that net by a fucking millimeter or shit like that. But I honestly thought that Edmonton had a really good game one, and Florida they just did what they do, man. Like, they counterattack is, oh my God. The Florida counterattack is so deadly. Like, this is like people thinking that Toronto, if they made it to the second round and would have had even a slither of a chance against Florida. Yeah, right. Are you kidding me? Toronto is the ultimate team of fucking up and that shit ending up in the back of your net. And the Florida Panthers are the king of that. They are the king of the counterattack. The second you make a mistake, it's in your net, man. Like, that's just how that goes. Florida is such an amazing counterattacking team. And so many other things, perimeter and defense and just, oh God. But that counterattack, man, Jesus, it's got to terrify you. Like, no matter what, Edmonton goes down, has an amazing chance, and if it going back the other way, odd man rush or anything, Florida is so good at capitalizing on mistakes and capitalizing on opportunities, which I think all said and done, that's kind of the difference in game one, is that Florida cashed in on their opportunities. When they had a chance, they scored, and when Edmonton had a chance, Bobrovsky shut the door. So we're starting to see early on in this series that there has been a very clear goaltending edge on the side of the Florida Panthers. I mean, Skinner, you can't blame him in game one. You really can't. You don't like Florida scoring on the first shot. I believe they scored on the first shot. Yeah. So that's exactly what Florida does. Edmonton was amazing out of the gate in this game. The first period, they were flying, they were getting chances, they were doing great. And it just took one Florida counterattack, and it's in your net, and then all the air is out of the balloon. The momentum's going the other way now. And that fucking sucks, man. Like, that's just the game, man. Momentum is a big thing, and how many times have we seen that as Leaf fans, you know? Toronto just on the power play, they got 27 shots and it's going the other way and it's in on a floater, just a little shitty whatever shot or whatever, and it's in there, and it's just like, God fucking damn it. So that has got to be something that is immensely frustrating right now for Edmonton. The shots were in their favor. Now, I know there have been discussions around shots, like, that doesn't, just because you have more shots than the other team doesn't necessarily mean that they were amazing, like so much better. You got dominated, you got goalied or something like that. It's just Florida shut it down. They're like, okay, we got 2 goals, and I think at this point, the way that Bobrovsky's playing, I think we can shut the door down confidently here and get it done. And Florida has just been ruthless on defense, man. No second chances. Like, if there's ever a rebound, it's gone before Edmonton can even get close to it. So many shots are getting blocked and shots getting deflected away. It's just gotta be infuriating for, to be watching this as an Edmonton fan. Like, these lanes are so clogged up, nothing's getting through, no second chances, and when you do get a fucking little glimpse of something, Bobrovsky is freaking there. So I don't know. I was rather encouraged after game one. I was like, all right, Edmonton didn't strike while the iron was hot. I felt like they had a good chance to get out in the series early and steal the first game, which the way that they played, they probably should have, right? But Bobrovsky. So that happens. You just, that shit happens sometimes. Sometimes you get goalied. You got a $10 million goaltender in net. He is capable of doing that. Bobrovsky is very capable, and that might have been his best game of the whole entire playoffs, maybe one of the best games of his career. He was sensational. He was amazing. Like, I was just like, normally I do a little thing here when a Toronto Maple Leaf goaltender makes a great save. I lick my I lick my fingers, like KFC, finger licking good save. I do that. And I was doing some of that for Bobrovsky because, like, holy shit, he was making some 10 out of 10 saves, guaranteed goals. But Edmonton had chances, man. Zach Hyman missed a wide open net. Like, oh, that was ugly to see. I did not like that, but without a doubt, Edmonton got goalied in game one, man. Like, they had great chances. Stuart Skinner was absolutely outdueled there. Like, it's a tough gig, right? Like, that's tough when you don't see the first shot for like the first 10 minutes and it's in, and then it's just an uphill battle from there, right? So, you got to give it to Skinner for hanging in there. He made some good saves, but going into game two, I was like, okay, Edmonton is going to go crazy. They got to get this win on the road. And they kind of laid a fucking egg in game two, man. Like, that was not a good performance. And there are some things, there are some injuries coming out now with Edmonton. People have been talking about Evander Kane dealing with a sports hernia. I think he's even come out and said so himself. But Kane is clearly dealing with something. If you see him on the bench, he's like squirming and getting up and getting down. It's almost like watching me after I'm done work and my back is all tight and sore and I'm like, I just can't sit down and get comfy. He's doing that right now. And so Evander Kane definitely hasn't been as effective as people were hoping for Evander Kane to be. And yeah, I think he's got like 4 goals or something like that. And yeah, especially so far in this series, he's been rather dormant. And game 2, you get the Foegele knee-on-knee with Luosterainen. And Florida gets a 5-minute major for that. So I can only imagine how pissed off people are with that one. But it was a really bad hit, man. Like, that was just dumb. You stuck the leg out, got knee-on-knee contact, and Luosterainen was down. Very hurt. I can't recall. I don't think I've heard anything on his return, or if I haven't heard, honestly, anything about Luosterainen. But as was expected, you get the 5-minute major for for Florida, and then immediately the referees even it up. They give Florida a penalty right away, and now it's 4-on-4, and Edmonton scores on their first shot. So it's like, oh shit. The roles have reversed over here a little bit. So I was really hoping for Edmonton to press down on the pedal, get crazy out there, and fucking attack. And then they just didn't. They just kind of ran. I don't know. It just looked like they ran out of gas. And Florida's continuous smothering. Oh my God, this team is so smothering. It is just. They're all over you all the time. You got no room to think or just, it's just amazing. Their forecheck is so ruthless. But the thing that Edmonton's been doing for some reason with Bobrovsky is they're targeting his 5-hole. Now, at least through the first 2 games they have been. Now, I have no idea why they're doing that because from what I saw from the statistics, Bobrovsky hadn't let in a 5-hole goal the whole entire playoffs. So it's like that. I don't think that's a weakness if he hasn't let in any goals there. So why are they going after it? They did score a 5-hole goal in game 2. So maybe they're onto something. I don't know. But I was just like, why are they going with the 5-hole? Why are they going low? Because most goaltenders are fucking dynamite down low. Like, I'll never forget Ryan Miller in his prime. That guy was unbeatable down low. You have to go high. And that's what we saw Boston doing when they played Florida. Boston was shooting high on Bobrovsky, and they were missing the net a lot. So maybe Edmonton's like, we would rather you hit the net, go low, and try and hit the net than go high and miss, because opportunities in the series are so very scarce. They would, I don't know, missing the net, I feel like may just be like an unacceptable thing at this point. It should be in general, but, they miss the net sometimes. But that is something they've been doing. They're going after the 5-hole. Like I said, they got 1. So, I don't know. Is it something to, like, maybe get into Bobrovsky's head a little bit? Like, oh, what? Do they know something I don't? Like, I don't know why they're going after the 5-hole. But they are. So, well, I'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that and see if Edmonton starts shooting high or if they continue to try and do 5-hole stuff. Like, even on the breakaway there, I think it was Hyman that was left alone. He was in there. He went 5-hole. Didn't work. So, it might be at this point getting predictable when you go 5-hole that many times. But, so there's other injuries that are going on with Edmonton. Darnell Nurse was dealing with an injury, like, very early in the game. I saw the clip where whatever happened, and it looked like he took a check and he kind of rolled off of it, and then he grabbed his hip. So immediately grabbed his hip. He was not moving right at all. He goes on the bench, and he only ends up playing one more shift for the rest of the game. He went out, and apparently on like every whistle, every commercial break, Darnell would go out there on the ice and try and skate, try and shake it out, do whatever, and it just he couldn't skate. He does, and that's Darnell Nurse's bread and butter, man. He's an insanely good skater. So if this guy's not comfortable skating, he's, I don't want to use the word useless, but you're taking away his best asset. And people are already harping on Darnell Nurse a lot already. I don't think it would be very good if you sent out a not able to skate Darnell Nurse. That would be not good. But what is cool is that Darnell decided to stay on the bench, which gives me flashbacks to Chara. When he had his jaw broken, he stayed. He had blood on his jersey, had fucked up looking face. He puts a cage on, he sits his ass on the bench, and he opens the door for the boys and shit like that, and cheering them on and stuff. Like something that a captain should and would do. So getting that. Now, I don't think Darnell was opening the doors and doing the hoorah thing, at least from, I don't know, but he was engaged, he was there, he wanted to be on the bench, he wanted to be there with his team. So that's cool, man. Like, you got to give Darnell at least that. Like, I still like Darnell Nurse. Like, yeah, he's overpaid as fuck, but, he's still pretty decent. They did scratch Cody Ceci, apparently. That's good. Just Cody Ceci, man. I don't know. Like, we had him in Toronto. He's terrible. Now Edmonton has him. He's getting scratched in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, I don't know, but this guy somehow is making like $4 million. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think people should be more on Cody Ceci than they are for Darnell Nurse. At least Darnell Nurse is hitting people and being, doing that shit. Anyway, so we don't know. I believe that the coach, can't remember, Knobloch, he came out and said that Darnell should be ready to go for Game 3, which is interesting because it looked pretty bad, man. Like, it looked really bad. Couldn't skate. And so he claims that he'll be back in the next game. We'll see about that. We'll see if Cody Ceci ends up getting back into this series because they are down 2-0, which is rough. But it's not over yet, people. I know. Like, I'm even going out there at work being like, shit, man, this is bad. This is really bad for Edmonton. But, history has shown us that, you're not in big trouble yet until you lose at home. So, yes, Edmonton didn't get anything on the road. Florida kept it clean, did what they're supposed to do. They won their 2 games at home. But the thing that is a little bit different this time around is that Florida's a good road team, good playoff road team. So is Edmonton. But it looks like at this point, Florida's kind of outclassing Edmonton and everything that Edmonton's good at. The power play has gone completely flaccid for the Edmonton Oilers. I think 0 for 6 now or something like that. They've gone in the series so far. And yeah, that's not going to cut it for Edmonton because they need those power play goals. They're the top power play team in this playoff. They got McDavid and Draisaitl, all those guys on that unit. They got to cash in on those opportunities. And the Florida penalty kill, shout them out. They have absolutely neutralized their power play. The only guy that looks like he's still ripping around out there is Connor McDavid. That guy is flying out there. He's being just crazy, just a ton of fun to watch, but I am not noticing really anybody else on the Edmonton Oilers. Draisaitl, like, where is that guy? He's parked over in his office on the power play, and, Bobrovsky's making some insane saves over there, but Leon Draisaitl right now has got to get it going because, it's way easier for Florida to shut down Connor McDavid. If Draisaitl's not going, then they don't have to really worry about him, and they could just keep him to the outside, or he's gone sleepy and dormant. I don't know what's going on with Draisaitl in this series, but, it gets, this Edmonton team draws a lot of comparisons to the Pittsburgh Penguins teams that won the Cups because of Crosby and Malkin. They get the comparison to Malkin, or McDavid and Draisaitl. So, when the Penguins were winning their cups, Malkin would take over series, Crosby would take over series, others would take over series, and right now we're not seeing that out of Draisaitl. Like, yeah, he's got a whole bunch of points, but did he really put the team on his back and, like, take over a series so far? I don't know. I could definitely not this series, that's for sure, but probably in others. Like, Anyway, this is kind of the first season where Draisaitl hasn't looked incredibly dominating. Like, even the year where he had no legs to skate on, he was still just scoring at a ridiculous pace. So Edmonton's got to figure something out with the power play. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea what to do to get them to score on the power play. I was listening to Spit and Chicklets, and they were, pretty elaborate plan for the Edmonton power play to I don't know, get some sneak attack or some shit. I don't know, man. Like, it's extremely hard because Florida is so big and lanky and just very hard to get through. So I don't know. I'm not getting paid the millions to figure it out and break through this Florida defense and their forecheck and the smothering. It's just been absolutely crazy and a fantastic job from the Florida Panthers at doing this. Like, it is not easy shutting down McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers power play and all of that stuff. But it was a really disappointing game for Edmonton. They had 7 shots after 2 periods, man. 7 shots. That's just not going to cut it, man. And again, you commend the Florida defense. They just suppressing shots, making Bobrovsky's job very easy, considering, he kind of saved their bacon in game 1. They're like, yo, Bob, we got you, bro. We're going to keep the shots low. And they did. I think Edmonton ended with 19 shots. So they had a really good third period in terms of getting shots, but they had really nothing going through the first 40 of that game, man. Like, they got the goal, and that was about it. They were really just kind of coasting after that. Didn't look very good at all. Nothing like they did in game 1. Game 1, they were flying, getting chances. This one, they were very shut down. They were very much so smothered. And Evan Rodriguez, god damn, this guy, what a fucking game from him, eh? Oh my goodness. 2 big goals, really nice goals. And this guy, he's got, I think, 6 goals, 11 points for Florida, and that's like by far his best playoff production he's ever had. He's been fantastic, and he was a guy that I looked at Florida signing last year, and I was like, hey, watch out for that one, because that Evan Rodriguez, man, when he is hot, he is hot. He is so hot. He is on fire. Remember when he was on Pittsburgh, Malkin went down, and Evan Rodriguez stepped in, and that guy was putting up like 2-3 points a game. It was an insane run, and this guy was like on pace for 70-80 points, and then Malkin comes back and it's like, and he's done. I don't know what's going on with Evan Rodriguez. He goes very dormant, very quiet. You kind of forget about him, but my God, when he's going, he's amazing, absolutely amazing. He's been a huge part of Florida's run, a great addition, and yeah, so far so good. He dominated that game too. He was all over it, playing very, very good. So we'll see what goes on in the rest of the series, man. It isn't over. Like I said, it's not over yet. Edmonton is on their way back home. They got the home crowd, and it's been a pretty fun crowd over there. I saw I don't know who she is, but there's like that lady in the front who's like just head to toe painted herself in silver, like dressed up like a giant Stanley Cup or whatever. She must be like a little local folk hero or something like that, because I see people like running up to her, taking selfies, or like, I don't know what's going on with that, but fuck, cool, man, that's awesome. But going back home for Edmonton, what can we expect out of Edmonton for Game 3? Some people are talking about, hey, should they pull out Skinner? Like, and put in Picard? Is that something that Knobloch is going to do? I mean, he has shown that he has a little bit of nut when it comes to making some pretty interesting decisions and standing by them, and it being the right decision more often than not. So from the sounds of it, it sounds like pulling Skinner out would be the wrong thing to do. He hasn't, I don't know, man. He's a really hard goalie to judge, because when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he is really fucking off. And I don't think Game 2 he was off, but he wasn't on. So I don't know, man. They're going to need on Skinner. He needs to be on. They need Edmonton to be on. They got to start fucking producing something 5-on-5. I think they said they had 4 or 5 shots total 5-on-5 against the Florida Panthers, and that's not good enough, man. You're not always going to get power plays. I feel like they're probably going to start drying up more and more. I think there was quite a few of them in the first or the second game. Not that many in the first. If I could be wrong, but it feels like there was a lot more in the second game. And I would expect Edmonton to get I'm not going to say more power plays, but they're going to get some power plays at home for sure. And I don't know, like I can't say that the crowd is alone going to get Edmonton into the series and help them get into it. But, they got to get some guys waking up here. Like Zach Hyman, he's been around the net, of course. He had some really close chances, some rushes towards the net that, like, oh my, if he scored a goal on those rushes, it would have been one of the greatest goals ever scored, because he was just flying, he breaks through two guys, and he just swings the stick and it misses, and So Hyman's trying, man. It's just like, it almost seems like every time he gets to the front of the net, there's already like two guys there waiting for him, and he can't ever get a hold of that second chance puck because it's getting smothered by 15 Panthers. They're flying all over the place, and my God, man. And the nanigans after all the whistles and stuff. I didn't even mention there was, I think it was in the last game, I think it was Ekblad grabbed Bouchard, and he's like, put him in a chokehold, and Bouchard taps out. He's like, you're killing me. And he's like, God damn, bro, you're choking me. And it's like, Ekblad ain't fucking around right now, man. Like, that guy, he's like, I have been a Panther my whole career. No more. I'm done with it. So watch the fuck out. You're getting chokeholds. It's getting real, man. It's very chippy. I saw the Matthew Tkachuk and McDavid scrum, like those guys going like immediately, like Tkachuk just goes and just grabs him and starts shoving his face and pushing him, and not like, he will not make eye contact with him, Tkachuk. McDavid, like, Tkachuk is yapping at him, and McDavid's looking right at him, smiling, laughing, like, whatever, pal. And then, like, Tkachuk will do his thing, starts pushing him, and, like, he's got his eyes, like, looking all over the place. Like, I don't know. He's just animalistic right now as Tkachuk. He's just in his own world. He's just a mutant freak. He's crazy. I would like him to be more productive, like scoring some goals and doing stuff like that. But, if Tkachuk isn't bringing that, he is 1,000% going to bring the in-your-face, what the fuck is up, bitch? I'm going to bop you, and a whole bunch of that. And it's just been ridiculous, man. Like, the stuff he's getting away with after the whistles, like, yeah, man, I understand people hate it, and it is what it is, but this is playoff hockey. It's always kind of been this way. Like, watch it. So another thing I was actually talking about with a guy at work is hockey is a very monkey see, monkey do kind of sport. So we're going to see the champions here. Let's just say, for example, the Florida Panthers win. All the other teams are going to see what Florida has done, why they won the championship, why were they successful, and they're going to look at what they did, and it's like, wow, they're big, they're strong, they're powerful, they're mean, and their defensemen are huge, they got a great goaltender, and maybe we're going to go back to the way it was back when the Bruins won the championship in 2011, where that Bruins team, the big bad Bruins, you had the big mean defense, you got the great goaltending, and just beating the shit out of people, man, being mean, being nasty, being dirty. Maybe we're going to go back to that trend again. We start seeing bigger teams, bigger, stronger, maybe a little slower, and you're going to start seeing the slowness or the speed leave a little bit out of some of these teams. Maybe. That's not for everyone, but it is kind of a monkey see, monkey do, and a lot of people follow what the champions did. Okay, why did they win? They're big and strong and fast. Okay, we're going to be big and strong and fast, and so says 30 of the other teams. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe we start seeing big guys coming back into the league again, because I remember during the Leafs' terrible era, I know there's a lot of them, haha, very funny, but during the mid-teens era, before Matthews and stuff, they were drafting big guys. Bigs and I don't even want to remember, because none of those guys made it because they were just big for nothing. They were big with no skill. Oh, we'll teach them skill. It's like, nah, it doesn't quite work that way. So, I mean, yeah, you can't teach big, but we'll see, man. We're starting to see, maybe we start seeing more players of the Thompson style, where they're 6'7" and they got the hands of a fucking, who knows, just some smaller guy. It's crazy. And there's the 6'7" defenseman that's going to get drafted this year. He looks like he might go second overall, and a big part of that is he's 6'7". You can't teach that. You can't teach that. So yeah, maybe we're gonna start seeing an influx in size again in the NHL. There was a little bit of time there where it was happening too often, where these extremely skilled people were getting drafted third, fourth round, and they're amazing. And it's just why did this dude get drafted so far down? It's well, he's only 5'9". It's like, when he scored 100 goals. It's like, yeah, but he's 5'9". He's going to die in the NHL. I'm thinking of like DeBrincat and stuff. Like, everybody passed on that guy in the first round because he was too small. Even though they knew, everyone knew that guy is a bona fide, he's going to be a 30-goal scorer in the NHL, and everyone passed because he was small. It's like, oh my God. So we'll see where that goes. Just something I was talking with some people at work about, because it's just a copycat league. Okay, so back to game 3. What can we expect out of Edmonton? Well, hopefully a better fucking effort than that. Like, they can't come out and get 3 shots a period, and they have to find a way to get some high danger chances. Again, I'm not a millionaire coach, so I don't know what the fuck to do, but do it. Just figure it out, y'all. You got to get in there, and you got to get through that Florida defense. You got to get through Bobrovsky, and that's been tough. They have 1 goal on Bobrovsky in 2 games, and yeah, that's not good. So Bobrovsky right now, he could be getting into the head of the Edmonton Oilers, and who knows how much further they're getting into their own heads right now. Like, not fun. It can't be fun for Edmonton right now, being down 2-0, but they're aware of it. Like, I think it was McDavid that said, like, we're going home, and we're going to start digging our way out of this hole. That's really all you can do right now, is go game by game, 1 game at a time, 1 win at a time, and that's all you can do. It's going to be a fucking task and a half to win 4 games against this Florida Panthers team. I think at this point, all they can really hope for is that Barkov is legitimately hurt. We don't know what's going on with Barkov here. So he took like a absolutely ridiculous like cross check to the face. He went down, got up, went back down, and yeah, that didn't look good at all. So people are speculating that maybe something tore in a bicep, like something looked off with Barkov there, and Barkov is so important to Florida, man. Like, oh my God, he is so good defensively. Like, even if this guy had his arms, well, I guess you would still need your arms, but if he had just like all of his scoring ability taken away, he would still be a really good player. You know, people would be pissed he's making $10 million and only plays defense, but dude, his defense is ridiculous. He is just, I was watching him on the penalty kill, and he was just so fast. He is so fast. He's knows where the puck is going to go. He's already there waiting for you. He's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Bam, I'm gone. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get that puck, and I'm gone. And it's out. So that could be maybe the only thing that Edmonton at this point can, you know, we don't want to hope for anybody to be hurt, but hope that Barkov maybe misses a game or 2, something like that, so Edmonton can try and open the floodgates a little bit. But like, just like, Barkov isn't the only defensive guy on the team, right? They got a big, mean defense pairings, and they got defensive forwards. Like, nah, man, like it's not just Barkov, but yeah, I mean, if you go down Barkov, that's a major piece. So we'll see what's going on with Barkov. I haven't heard anything of what's going on with him for the next game, if he will or won't be into it, but we'll have to wait and see. At this point, it's a must-win for Edmonton. I felt like Game 2 was a must-win for Edmonton, and they really kind of laid an egg there. So hopefully they're coming out flying on Thursday. McDavid's going nuts. Draisaitl's flying. Hyman's crashed in the net. Bouchard is shooting bombs, and Edmonton can get a win. They better not get swept. I don't want to see any sweeps. Not in the finals. I don't want that shit. I want a good competitive series, and I want Edmonton to get back into this. I would love nothing more than Edmonton to rattle off 2 wins at home, and then we get to that pivotal Game 5 in Florida. That would be a ton of fun. It wouldn't be as fun if, you know, Florida wins the next game and Edmonton wins Game 4, and then we go back to Florida, and the cup could be presented. So we'll see where it goes, but let me know what you guys think of the series so far. I think it's been pretty good, but it just, I don't know, it seems like one team's in it and the other one's out. You got the one team had 10 shots one game, the other team had, you know, something like that. I don't know. I want both teams back and forth hockey, getting chances. Right now it's very shut down, very limited chances. So we'll see. Maybe the series opens up in Edmonton. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think of the series so far. And now that we're done talking about successful teams in the Stanley Cup Finals, let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we got a couple of player notifications here. So it looks like Edmondson and Lyubushkin are both going to test free agency. Now, that doesn't mean that they're gone. Now Edmondson can go test the market, may not like what he sees, and comes back to Toronto. Because I know Toronto has quite a bit of interest in Edmondson. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that he blew me away, but he is definitely more of the style of defenseman that Toronto needs on the team right now. So, yes, I would like him to stay, but what is that going to cost? It shouldn't cost too much. Like, the guy's kind of like a top 6 defenseman. He's not like amazing or anything. He's more of a big body, right? So I don't think it would cost him a lot, but there's definitely going to be a lot of interest in that kind of player right now, right? Excuse me. So we'll see what goes on with him. Very similar to Lyubushkin. Like, yeah, he's been here a couple of times. He's paired up with Riley, okay. But no, Lyubushkin is not the ideal pairing defenseman with Morgan Riley. No, that's not what I want. So I like Lyubushkin. I wouldn't hate him back on the team, but again, looks like he's going to test free agency, and he's more than likely going to get like a deal from like a team like Chicago or something that's more than anyone else would want to pay a player like him, and then he could just go play in Chicago. They got tons of money. So, and then there's also the Marner rumors are still circulating, so we'll talk about that and what I think is going to happen here with Mitch Marner. So, Marner talked with Craig Berube. There was that picture of them talking in a Tim Hortons or whatever, or maybe they're just on a date. I don't know. Maybe they like each other. Doesn't matter, but they're talking. So the more that this is the more days that are passing, and the more that people are talking about this, it really does seem like Marner's staying, and they're just gonna play with him this year and see what happens. It almost sounds like there are a lot of variables here. I think they want to keep Marner on this team on his contract year, because they look at what Willie did last year, and look at what Matthews did in his contract years. Look what Sam Reinhart did in his contract year. Maybe Toronto doesn't want to leave that behind. Maybe they're like, we want to have this guy play this final year here, and then we can move him or something. I don't know. Very, very, very risky situation to do. Because not only if he crushes it this year, he's going to want more money, which he doesn't deserve, and someone's going to be dumb enough to give it to him. I don't think it'll be Toronto. I don't think Marner will be a Toronto Maple Leaf past this upcoming season. I think he'll be here. I think he's going to be in the opening day lineup. I think he'll be here longer than I think a lot of us would like him to be here, which really upsets me. I don't want that. I don't want him. I don't want this fucking story being talked about 3-4 times a week. Oh, Marner. Oh, he said this in an interview. Oh, he said that. And then people are picking that and this and that and that and this all apart. And no one cares. Get rid of this guy. I'm done with him. Anyway, it sounds like they're going to keep him for a little bit. See what's there. See if there is something that Berube can find in this player that Keith didn't, that Babcock didn't. Maybe there's something there. Maybe they end up being a fantastic relationship. Maybe Berube and Marner get really, really along well together, and they unlock something. All I can confirm is that wherever Marner goes, he's going to be amazing. He's probably going to win a Stanley Cup wherever he goes. Just be ready for that one, Toronto. So, you know, I'm already ready for it, because that's generally what always happens with players that leave Toronto. They go off to greener pastures and they win Stanley Cups. Bozak, Kadri, Luke Shen, name them. It's out there, right? So there's tons of guys that go on to greener pastures. Would I be shocked if Marner went off to blank team and won a Stanley Cup? Nope, not at all. But I know for a fact it's not going to happen here. He will not win a cup here. He can't win a cup here. It's not going to happen. So people are throwing out a bunch of trade rumors. Oh, Tom Wilson. Nope, don't you fucking even think about it. Nope, because at this point in Tom Wilson's career, he will literally be David Clarkson V2, baby. He's going to come over here and just be awful. So I don't want anything to do with Tom Wilson. If you take 10 years off of his, or you rewind the clock like 5 years, fine, sure, I'll take him. But I don't want anything to do with his 800-year contract, and nope. I'm good. So Tom Wilson's off the table, and then what else is out there, right? So It's going to be tough, man. I don't think it's going to go down very well, the Marner situation. I think all said and done, it's going to come down as a huge loss for Toronto, but they have to move on from this player. I don't think there's any winning in this situation. I'd be pleasantly surprised if they did end up winning a Marner trade and everyone's happy, but that's not usually how that goes down. So again, I'm very unoptimistic about the whole Marner situation. I'm getting flashbacks to the Nylander holdout year, to the Marner holdout year, and all of that shit was miserable. Miserable. It made watching the Leafs that year just unbearable. So depressing, and every conversation is just like, oh, this guy's sitting out, and what's going to happen? Should we just get rid of him? And I feel like that's going to be a major conversation around Marner, especially if they don't lock him up or anything, because like they can do that on July 1st. I think they're able to sign an extension with Marner and or Tavares if they wanted to do that as well, because they're both up. We all know that Tavares, more than likely, he's not going to get traded. He doesn't want to move, but we all knew this was coming when they signed the contract. We knew that the last 3 years were going to be a little bit grim with John Tavares, and I think, honestly, they've been better than what we originally anticipated these years for Tavares to be like. I think he's actually still pretty damn good, and no, he's not worth $11 million, but he's not going to ask for $11 million the next go-around, right? So I'm fine with John Tavares staying on this team for a discount, because I still think he provides a lot for the team. Should he be the captain? No, I don't think so. Really, it should be Matthews' team at this point. It just is. He's the emotional leader. He's the most popular guy. Like, come on. No disrespect to John Tavares, though. I love that guy. I still love him, even though all the people hate him, but I love him. That's my boy. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very fun year for Toronto fans. It's probably going to be a lot of more of the same shit from last year. Like, oh, we can't defend in front of the net. We make a lot of stupid plays, and we're probably, I don't know. I'm getting angry thinking about them running back this team again. They better not, like, I can't see them playing the same way. They're definitely going to have to shift that. Like, there's no way Berube is going to play that system. It's not going to happen. Even if Shanahan's like, do it. You do what I say, bitch. And Berube's like, no, I'm not doing that. We're not going to do that. You've done it for 8-9 years to zero success. So knock it off. Get some help. God damn it. All right. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about with the Leafs. It's just that it's gonna get drawn out, man. It always does with Toronto, and there's gonna be so much of the same conversation with him over and over again, but hopefully I won't fall into that. Hopefully I don't have to keep talking about Marner over and over again. So let's move on. Let's go to Calgary. And for the love of God, everybody please let Calgary draft Tig Aginla or Tij or whatever his name is. You better be a goddamn Calgary Flame, damn it. Someone's going to take him early. I know it, but oh, I want it so bad. Can we please have him? Please? Come on, y'all. Like, it needs to happen. There is no other place. Don't you even fucking say Pittsburgh or Boston or Colorado, because Aginla belongs in goddamn Calgary. And that's where Tij Aginla better be drafted. And I'm a little bit nervous because, you know, this kid's been flying up the boards, man. He has been flying up the boards. And I think right now, like mock drafts, he's at like 9, which is where Calgary is drafting, I do believe, is 9th. So that's too good to be true. Someone's going to yuck the yum. Someone's going to take him early, or they're going to threaten Calgary like, we're going to take Aginla, and you better give us Markstrom in your first round pick. And it's like, fuck, god damn it. But I am praying that Aginla gets drafted by Calgary. We all need this. I need this. Calgary needs this. Please. Please. All right. More talks with Jacob Markstrom and the Calgary Flames. So these talks have continued again. They went dormant for a little bit there, but they're ramping back up, and the rumors are still around New Jersey. So, hey, go ahead. Have them. Take them. It's okay. Flames don't need them no more. You know, honestly, if the Flames didn't have them this year, they'd be drafting Aginla 100% because they would have been way worse. So, fuck. God damn it. So, Markstrom's got to go. He's got to go. There's no reason for them to keep him. They can go with Dustin Wolf. They can go Vladar Wolf combo. It's not. I don't think we should be thinking playoffs for the Flames next year. I think at this point, stop trying to hold on to a playoff run and focus on building up a team and getting it ready for the new arena. That's what I would be doing as Craig Conroy. Like, okay, yeah, it would be great to have a final playoff run or whatever in the dome, but at the sacrifice of, like, more than likely what would happen is the Flames don't make the playoffs again, and they get a mediocre draft pick, and they continue to be in mediocrity, which is the worst place to be in the NHL, somewhere in the middle, where you're not quite a playoff team, but you're not quite a lottery team, and that's where Calgary's playing right now, and I can't have it go on like this anymore. So get rid of Markstrom, send him to New Jersey, and we'll be good. We'll take a pick or something. Like, it's not like Markstrom's going to bring a lot back. Goalies don't bring a lot back. Even though Markstrom statistically was a top 3 goaltender last year, I think Flames would be lucky to get a first-round pick for him. That's my opinion, honest opinion. He's got a big salary cap still, so... And he's hella inconsistent, man. Like, he's a good year, bad year, so... If that's how it goes, he's due for a bad year. So maybe the Flames should keep him. I don't know, but the rumors are starting to fly around Jacob Markstrom again. And speaking of rumors, trade rumors, they're coming out of Anaheim again, and they're surrounding Trevor Zegras and John Gibson. Now, John Gibson, that's not a shock. That's been, for 4, 5, 6 years now? He's been on the trade block and trade rumors for Anaheim. And Zegras, he's been on it now. This is the second time I've discussed Trevor Zegras and a potential trade out of Anaheim, and why do they want to do that? Trevor Zegras, young player, very, very, very talented, and, fits the mold for what this team is doing right now. They're bringing in lots of young talent. This guy's young. He's got 60-point season under him. He scores the Michigans. It's just like the last year and a half for him has been not very good. Last season was a disaster. Huge disaster. Tons of injury problems. When he was in the lineup, he wasn't producing very much at all. And he's on Anaheim. Anaheim is awful. Awful. Terrible team. So I don't know I just don't think Anaheim can win a trade like that with Trevor Zegras right now. Like, to trade him now would be stupid. He's at his lowest trade value ever. He just came off of an injury-riddled, shitty season. Like, why would you even want to try and trade him now? That makes no sense to me. What even would they be looking for? What the fuck do you want back? Like, you guys already started bringing in the veterans. You got Killorn, you got Gudas, you got a plethora of young players coming up, and Minchikov, Carlson, you name them. There's tons of young guys. They're going to draft another stud this year. Like, what do they want? Do you want a goalie? What are we doing here? So even with the goalie, they got Dostal there. So I don't know. I don't know what a trade like that would look like. And then the Gibson thing. Like, Gibson hasn't been traded yet. Like, I just don't think it's ever going to happen. Like, it's just, I feel like it gets harder and harder to trade him each bad year that he has. But until he gets to that final year of his contract, I think he still has 3 more years left. No one's really going to want to touch the guy. The numbers that he's put up does not justify the salary cap that he's making. And, I think it's too risky to be like, oh, well, he's played on Anaheim. If he plays on our team, he should be a good goalie, right? Maybe not. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's something I would want to risk. A team that I could see risking something like that, especially in terms of goaltending, is Ottawa. Think about it. So I know Ottawa just brought in Korpisalo, and that has been a fucking disaster. I think everybody saw that coming. Even Korpisalo probably saw that coming. Like, you guys sure? Like, all right, here I go. And there I was. That's just not a good year for the goaltending in Ottawa. So they're looking to upgrade on Korpisalo. It's going to be tough because he makes a lot of money with a lot of term, and it's basically, I would, can't say unmovable, but very difficult to move at least. So maybe they do a goalie swap, Gibson for Korpisalo. That would be dumb and fun, wouldn't it? So that could be, I don't know, I'm just throwing that one out there, but that would be silly. Where would Gibson go? And, like, Would Anaheim retain 50 on him? Like, would they want to do that? I mean, you kind of have to. At this point, if I was Anaheim, just keep the fucking guy. Like, jeez. Unless he wants to go, like, just keep him. Like, fuck, he's not really worth anything, really. So, what's the point? Just keep the bitch. I don't know. Let him shepherd Dostal and just let them do the 1-2 combo. I don't know. But that's just some shit that's going on in Anaheim right now. So let's talk about Utah. So Utah, the team that was the Arizona Coyotes and now are Utah Blanks. We don't know their name yet. They're working on it, but apparently they have received over 34,000 season ticket buys already. So that doesn't math quite right? Because their arena only holds like 19,000. So I think that means like there's half season things you can buy. You can buy like 10. I don't know what that means, but all I know is that is great news for Utah. That means you got tons of fans interested already and ready to make a commitment to this team with a season ticket pass. Like, goddamn, I think that's commitment. If you're asking me, you're going to commit to our whole season? Fuck yeah. And 34,000 of them did it already, and they don't even have a name yet. They don't so that's pretty goddamn impressive right there for Utah. So I imagine we'll be hearing more about Utah throughout the offseason. Hopefully get a logo and a team name and all that shit. But right now, they at least know that they're going to have fans filling up that building. So that's good. Speaking of good, we have the NHL salary cap is rising $4.5 million to an official $88 million salary cap for next season. That's official. That is the number. So I guess the first question is, how fast do those GMs blow that money? I mean, immediately, right? Because that's what they do. They spend right to the cap, and then they fuck themselves for the whole entire year, and then they go, why? And then they whine about it. They go, whoa, what happened? How come no one can make any trades over here? And get some respect. And they fucking, it's because you spent every singular cent that you can, and you have no wiggle room now, you idiot. So maybe teams are going to learn their lessons. I feel like there's definitely going to be teams like Vegas that spend that money immediately. They're like, money. Just spend it all. Yeah, Vegas and that kind of shit. So we'll see if teams are going to use any of this extra salary cap in some sort of strategic role. Do you think any GM would just be like, hey, that 4.5, we do not touch that. We always wouldn't that, I would make that a plan if I was a GM, like, hey, here's the amount of money that we need to keep. We need to play. We have to have something to play with. If something goes wrong, we got to have some wiggle room to do something instead of getting fucked like the Leafs and Vegas were like, I can't even put out a full roster because our salary cap is so fucked. So hopefully maybe a team or two will smarten up and keep a little bit of money. I'm not talking about like the bottom feeding teams, the ones that have tons of salary cap because they're bad. The ones that are trying to be competitive. Like, wouldn't you save a little money for a rainy day, a little something just in case, a flat tire? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's always a good idea to give yourself a little bit of flexibility, and teams just do not do that. I don't know if that is them trying to, say to the league, like, look, we can never do anything. The salary cap is ridiculous. We need a luxury tax. We need something else. We need help. We need some help. We can't stop spending all this money. But anyway, at least the salary cap is finally going up after numerous years of it staying stagnant because of COVID and shit like that. So going up 4.5 this year, I think they said it's going to go up another 4 the next year. So as long as we keep going upwards, that is good. Speaking of good, well, this isn't that good. So PWHL Minnesota, they just won the championship, right? Well, that's great. GM, you're fired. Days after winning the championship, you are fired, my friend. Get out of here. So that is very interesting. Let's say, for example, who won the cup last year? Vegas. So Vegas wins the cup. 2 days after the celebration, they fire their GM. Would that not make you go, what did that man do? Did he kill somebody? Did he do something really bad? Is he about to go to jail? And I don't think that's what's going on with the PWHL's previous GM. From what I heard, is there was a butting of heads. They didn't get along, they weren't on the same page, didn't see eye to eye, all that shit. So, you're out of here, fool. Thanks for winning us a championship, and see you later. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. It's different, interesting, and, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that. That's, it's just very, and it's like right before their draft as well. So, not really a very smart-looking organizational move for PWHL Minnesota, but they're moving off of their championship-winning GM. So, we'll see how that goes for them. And also, one final thing I would like to talk about for a second is Washington has purchased Cap Friendly, the website that I use, you probably use, a whole bunch of us use. It's Cap Friendly. So now they own it. What the fuck does that mean? We can't use it no more? I think that is what that means. And that sucks. That's not cool. I like Cap Friendly. Now I'm going to have to use the other thing, and I don't know what that thing is yet. So I'll have to go out and find it. But Washington buying Cap Friendly, I mean, it's a fantastic tool for their organization to use. They can sit there and make trades, they can do mock buyouts, they can do mock trades, they can do a whole bunch of shit. They can see the salary cap. And what does that mean for, like, the people that own the website? Did they get bought too? Are you now employees of the Washington Capitals? Are you doing analytics for us now? Are you running this website for strictly us and our statistical needs? Like, what's up with that? So, fuck. I'm sad that Cap Friendly is gone because I love that website. It's great, but you know, there's always going to be the next one. Someone else will come up, step up to the plate, and they'll be our next Cap Friendly situation. So, interesting for the Caps buying Cap Friendly. Actually, there's one more thing I would like to touch on just because the NHL draft is getting closer, and NHL.com just put out their mock draft. So let's just go through this, the first 5 picks or so, and we'll just discuss some of these names and see what's going on. So the first overall pick is pretty solidified. It's going to be Macklin Celebrini. Everyone seems on the same page about that. It doesn't sound like there's any threat of anyone but Celebrini going first overall to San Jose this season. So both of their experts said Celebrini. So let's go to Chicago, picking second. And they have both selected Artem Levshunov. So this is the dude that is... Okay, he's not the big guy. He is... Focus on celebrating. This goes a hell of a 38 games. Oh my god. All right, yep. So he's pretty good. Now, the thing with this guy is he's the right shot defenseman. So very hard to get a right shot defenseman. So I can see them being very interested in him. Anaheim, they got... Anton Silayev, that is the left shot defenseman that is 6'7". So he's got massive size. The dude Levshunov, he's also got NHL ready size already. He's 6'2", 205 pounds. So he projects outside of Celebrini to be the most NHL ready player in this draft. So 1 and 2 would be the most NHL ready. The other guy they're thinking of could be Ivan Demidov. He is the right winger, and this dude is like, I believe he is the one that's getting comparisons to Kucherov. So yeah, that's a pretty big deal to have a right winger of Kucherov's kind of level. Now he's not Kucherov right away, but so that guy is there. Fourth, Columbus. They're thinking Caden Lindstrom or Anton Silayev. So Silayev, the big guy, if he falls down to 4, maybe Columbus grabs him. Caden Lindstrom, he had a back injury, so he didn't play a whole lot. After taking Anfantilli, I don't know. Don't really know about this guy. And then the Montreal Canadiens picking 5th overall. They're suggesting Ivan Demidov or Caden Lindstrom. So one of those two guys. The thing is on this draft is that no one is like decisive after picks 1 and 2. It seems like it's Celebrini and Levshunov. Those are like 1-2, pretty fucking solidified. Chicago could go a different direction. If they want a bigger defenseman, they can go with that Silyev guy, but it sounds like they're going to stick with Levshunov. It sounds like the right decision for them, but that is currently the at least the mock draft for the NHL. That's who they got, but there's tons of other ones, like the hockey guy. He'll like compare the like 3 or 4 draft things, and they're all over the place. Like, oh, we got this guy, this place has him ranked 10th, and this one has him ranked 15th, and this one has him ranked 40th, and you're like, what? And yeah, it's just crazy shit like that. So the draft will be very interesting this year just because there's so many, or just so much unknown. Like, there's just like a lot of skill there, but no one's like necessarily so far ahead of the pack. It just seems like a really good group of players, and it's going to take a while until we figure out who's the best among them. But pretty interesting names right here. I'm definitely interested to see where the 6'7" defenseman goes and how silly he's going to look on the ice. He's going to be massive. All right, so there you go, everybody. That's all the news that I got for you this week. Can't wait for Game 3 on Thursday. That should be a lot of fun. Hopefully Edmonton can get back into it. I just want a competitive series more than anything. Just want it to be some good-ass hockey. So far, it's been all right, pretty all right. Not amazing, not going to go down as the greatest final so far, but we'll see. It's still early enough in the series, so there you go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. You guys are awesome. What would be even more awesome, make sure you're hitting that review button. Hit the stars, hit the thumbs, whatever the heck it has. Just make sure you're reviewing and helping out the little guy over here. In terms of what else we got going on with the podcast this week, I had a pay-per-view review on the WrestleCast for NXT's Battleground. You can go back and listen to that one. What did I do? Final Fantasy 16 review on the GamerCast last week. This week I'm thinking I'm going to do Pokemon Stadium 2, or I'm going to talk about like all the game shows that went down over like the last week. There was the Xbox showcase. Ubisoft had a thing. Like, everyone's doing game show stuff right now. So maybe I'll talk about some of the games that were shown off and announced and news and stuff like that. It's been a little while since I've done like a gauge on the gaming industry, see how we're doing over there, because it's been a little bit of a rocky road lately. But at least we had a good Xbox showcase, so maybe I'll talk about that, but if I'm not, I'll be talking about Pokemon Stadium 2. So keep your eyes out for that. We got a Twitter page. You can follow along over there. All the links are in the description, and I upload all these episodes to YouTube on the Gamer GX Videos YouTube channel. There's a link in the description as well. Go over there, subscribe to the channel, and a great place to drop a comment on any of the videos. Ask a question about wrestling, hockey, video games. I would love to answer your question live on the podcast, so send in your questions, and I would love to answer them. Thank you. And there's also an email address if you just want to have like a private conversation or anything. My door is open for you. And there we go, everybody. Another GX Hockey, I almost said GamerCast, another HockeyCast down in the books. And we'll be back again with some more GX Plus Cast.